A lot of bad days along the way to that, but certainly it was one of the highlights of the last number of years as far as I was concerned anyway.
Did you always want to return though to Limerick?
Well, as I said to you before, when I took Offaly in '93, I didn't think that Limerick and Offaly would meet in the final in '94. But I always wanted at some stage to come back to Limerick because I had been manager in '88 and '87 and '88. And again, it was at a time when the team was going down, when I say at the end of their careers. I came back then to Limerick in 97, 98 or 98, and something similar was happening. And now things have changed a little bit since then.
I think Eamon Cregan is heading down the road that we did a couple of years ago, bringing in a lot of young players and building up the base from there. So they've obviously made great strides. They got to the league semi-final, and I'm sure they think that was certainly progress where they're concerned.
The Cork team is a very good team. They're All-Ireland champions. They've won the matches last year with conviction. They may be slightly confident, overconfident. I hope they're overconfident. And they're extremely good ball players. They have a very tight defence, good goalkeeper, and forwards are very nippy.
We use the games in the National League as a means to try out players, and I think it's fair to say that a number of players have been very, very impressive throughout the National League, and they're not starting today in the game. So we have a very strong panel of players now, and when we announced the team there right in Cork, there was a number of players I'm sure who were very, very disappointed not to be in the starting 15. But that proves the strength of your panel, I think, and I am very satisfied that we have a stronger panel now than we had last year.
There are always players out there that are good in individual clubs, and what we try to do then is pick out those guys and try and draft them in. Now we have seven under 21 players that are on a learning curve, and suddenly during the league they suddenly clicked. Didn't the first match, but then from the Offaly match onwards they began to play well, and we began to win matches, and a new air of confidence appeared in them. And when you look at young fellas today, and you look at the Munster team and look at the young fellas there, they have the confidence of youth. And some people would say they have the arrogance of youth to come out and do things that others would not do.
In my time involved in coaching teams, certainly anyway, it's often been the player you least expect to play well on the day, or who's under the most pressure in, who responds. The player you expect to play well might have an off day. So you just have to be aware of all what's going on around you and assess the situation and keep your wits about you.
The positive about this particular team is that all of the players are capable of scoring, and they all want to score. We played Kilkenny in a challenge match in Dunnamaggin about 2 weeks ago. 11 of the team scored. Now they may have only scored 1 point or 2 points, but 11 of them scored. Before you had only 1 or 2 players doing all the scoring. So, you know, they're all capable of scoring.
Being champions carries its own pressures, and yeah, it's up to all players now to prove that they can carry that mantle of favouritism and an expectation that has been you know, raised since last year. And I think the public in Cork have a greater expectation now, obviously, and that brings its own pressures. But it's a great way to be going into the game as All-Ireland champions.
I hate the 2 weeks coming up to a match, because you're there and you know the match is coming, you know what can happen, you know what can go wrong, and it's a kind of a negative feeling, but you've got to overcome that. And once I get in with the lads, then things change. But you're always fearful, and again, that's about old age. But young fellas are looking forward to it. I'm probably hoping that I'm hoping for their sake that they perform on Sunday, and that's all we need from them, is a good performance from them. A winning performance, but they can do it, and I'm confident that they can do it.
We've worked very hard to prepare the players for the type of challenge we expect from them. We expect a huge challenge. It's going to be, you know, a devil, you know, do or die attitude from them, and we're going in the same way. It's a huge game for both counties. The rewards are massive. You get to a Munster final, you're in the quarter final, you've got to earn at least. So the incentives are there for both teams to go and win the game. So it's going to be a huge test for us, and I can't wait really for it to start.
Well, nobody better. I suppose after winning the All-Ireland last year, I mean, they were bound to take the National League as a low-key event, and maybe just to maintain their status. And Jimmy said they did introduce a lot of players, and I think the key for me really is the background team that they have at the moment. Jimmy and Tom Cashman and Johnny Crowley. These are guys who have been through it all. Won All-Irelands and come back the following year. And you know, I mean, the roads are reversed for Cork today. Last year they were a young team. Nobody maybe gave them a chance of getting out of Munster. This time round, slightly favourites again to maybe to win the All-Ireland again at this stage. And you look at it and you say to yourself, God, can anybody knock them off the perch? And everybody will be doing that, trying to do that. Again, it comes down, I think it comes down today where the Cork have the hunger and the appetite and the desire that they had last year, because up against Limerick today, they're going to face a team that within the first 20 minutes are going to throw everything at them.
Pete Finnerty, Ollie Moran and his Limerick colleagues out on the field down at Thurles. What chance for them today? We've talked about this young team. Untested team, I suppose, more than young, really.
untested more than young. There's a lot of players that have been there a long time. Steve McDonough, TJ Ryan, Kieran Carey is back again. Ollie Moran himself has been through the mill in championship hurling. They have 6 newcomers, as Eamon and Ger were talking about, and it's up to Eamon Cregan to get these guys focused in the dressing room. Get them go out as another championship match. Forget about Cork, get their own game right. Eamon is talking there about, well, a good performance will do us. But in that dressing room, you can be certain that
That's
Limerick
never Eamon Cregan.
they're not looking for a good performance. Cregan has been through this mill. He's one of 3 managers in hurling that has won All-Ireland with teams. Okay, well, with Offaly wasn't with his own, but that doesn't matter. Today they'll be so focused to put in a good performance against Cork, to get out there, get stuck in. The first 15-20 minutes are going to be vital for Limerick, for these younger players that we so called, to get there, to get in along with the mix, get into their own game. And once they get that going, if they can hang in there with Cork, they'll put doubt into Cork's mind. Everybody in a championship game has an opportunity of winning, and you can't write Limerick off at this stage.
Well, the welcome is for the All-Ireland champions as they come out onto the pitch to defend their titles in Munster and, of course, that All-Ireland itself. Let's go back again to Ger.
Welcome back to Semple Stadium. There's Fergal McCormack from Mallow. Fergal, one of the stars from last year. And they've been fortunate enough, of course, to be able to announce almost an unchanged team from the side that defeated Kilkenny by just a point last September to record the first championship win for Cork for 9 years. Jimmy Barry Murphy at the helm. And of course, first All-Ireland back in 1973. And that was as a footballer. And curiously, the same year, Eamon Cregan of Limerick, All-Ireland medal, playing in the colours of Limerick in hurling. There's Neil Ronan. He's been very, very impressive this season, very consistent as well. Comes from a famed hurling family in Ballyhay. It's up in North Cork, not too far away from Charleville. Wonderful little club ground up there. Great atmosphere always when you travel around that part of the world to enjoy a game of hurling. Sean O'Halpine there at the back, and the crowds everywhere and anywhere, I would say. We're talking in terms of 35,000, maybe even a little more, here at Semple Stadium this afternoon. The traditional photograph then, but a tense occasion. Everybody's so aware that whoever loses here does not have the chance of going through to even an All-Ireland quarter-final. There's a Munster final place at stake for Ollie Moran of Ahan and his team. Ollie, who's a very fine captain of this team, brings so that they can have the photographs taken. Let's take a check on the teams. Joe Quaid is back in goal for the Shannon Siders for his 7th championship campaign. Stephen Lucy gets the first championship opportunity in a slightly revamped backline, minus team captain Clem Smith. Brian Geary now operates at wing-back, while there's another Munster debut in midfield alongside James Moran for Mike O'Brien. Kieran Carey, a hero and a warrior many times in the past, is selected on the 40 for Eamon Cregan's team, having been largely absent for the past year or so. He takes his place in an attack that shows 2 freshmen to championship activity, Mark Keane on the left wing and James Butler in the right corner. Limerick with 11 of the players who lined out last year against Waterford, beaten by just a point in round 1 of the Guinness Munster Hurling Championship. Joe Quaid in the centre. Almost impossible to imagine a Limerick team without a Quaid playing in goal. His late cousin, of course, Tommy, so fondly loved and so sadly missed, died a little over a year ago. And there's Diarmuid O'Sullivan there, part of the Cork team. Well, Cork's backline is the same as that which won the All-Ireland last September. John Brown is back, having missed the first round game over Kerry. Brian Corcoran was last year's hurler of the year. Today he's flanked by Wayne Sherlock and Sean O'Halpine. Injury prevents last year's captain Mark Landers from starting in midfield. So it's the East Cork duo of Mickey O'Connell and Pat Ryan once again this week. Well, as it was last year, once again, it's this for this Munster semi-final, it's Ben O'Connor, who missed the first round exercise against Kerry, but he's fit and resumes at left corner forward. 4 of these forwards, I think, could be slotted into any of the 6 positions. For the record, Shonny McGrath wears 13, with Joe Dean listed on the fringe of the square. So that is the setting in Semple Stadium here in Thurles. It's a perfectly fine, still day. Will Shonny McGrath be one of the heroes? Will Limerick produce an ace of their own? It's quite possible. Throw in here in 10 minutes' time. As I understand it, before all of this can get underway, minute silence intended to honour the memory of Eddie Stokes, brother of Nick and Dick from Pallasgreen, and of course a former Limerick and Munster Railway Cup player. Referee calling across the big full forward. Barry Foley's down injured. It was heated, it was expected to be so.
In fact, in fairness, I think Dermot O'Sullivan pulled back towards Brian Begley, and then I think there was a retaliation came in afterwards, Gerald.
We may get a chance to look at that again. Brian Begley is spoken to by Erdal Maksivna, and it's the first yellow card. Only about, 50 seconds gone. That happened after about 20 seconds. Still a couple of players down, receiving attention. Barry Foley's down, so too is Dermot O'Sullivan, and this is what happened just moments ago here. Little clash of legs. And then watch for Begley and O'Sullivan. Both men back on their feet again.
This is not good, Gerald. We don't need to see this at the start of a hurling match. Intensity is required, but not like that. It's absolutely, totally unnecessary.
It's ridiculous. So referee also taking out the yellow card for Dermot O'Sullivan. Referee is putting down a marker, I think. Any more of this, and the next guy is in trouble. He's going to throw the ball in rather than water free. Cork with it. And there's a high challenge there. And the player taking it out was Wayne Sherlock. And the Blackrock man was fouled, and it's a free to Cork. But it's an unpleasant and unhealthy start to the game.
Well, in fairness, Gerald, the lads are a little bit pent up and a little bit hot. I think it'll sort itself out very quickly.
That's in towards the corner. Steve McDonough. Pat Ryan trying to pick it up. Taken instead by Ben O'Connor. Still going forward is Timmy McCarthy. Neil Ronan. Ronan trying to step away from danger and trying to put over the first point of the match, but he's putting wide instead. There was plenty of pressure on him there. Mark Foley from Adair was over challenging. Joe Quaid here. Directed into the Sean O'Halfeen's corner. Limerick looking for the first point of the match. Instead it's Brian Corcoran. Challenged by Shane O'Neill. And the foul, and it's going to be a free to Cork once more. Too many frees already in the game. There's Pat Ryan, who is the Sarsfield's man. Mickey O'Connell about to take over here. Free-taking duty. Mickey from Middleton, as Shane O'Neill has his number recorded by the referee. One more foul and he would be getting a yellow. O'Connell. TJ Ryan's in there, trying to clear this ball out, and it's taken away very effectively. Great play over there by Mike O'Brien. Left behind by Brian Geary. Mark Foley trying to get the ball out. Neil Ronan trying to come in to take it. Looking for the opening point, and he gets it. Neil Ronan from Ballyhay. Made a marked contribution last year when he was only 19 years of age, and today he's got the opening point of the match after about 4 minutes play. Change of direction of the puck out this time by Joe Quaid. Kieran Carey coming to try and meet it. Mickey O'Connell nipping in, the midfielder. Sending it up towards Ben O'Connor. Stephen McDonough's there as well. TJ Ryan came out, committed himself, didn't take it however. Brian Geary used to play in the corner, now out at wing back this afternoon. Ryan once again. It spills loose. Joe Dean trying to hand pass it outside to O'Connor. He's fouled. A chop down foul, and the referee is no more than a couple of yards from the action at all times, and he really is laying down the law. He's awarded quite a number of frees against Limerick, and the match is only 5 minutes old.
Yes, I mean, Limerick are obviously anxious to go out and perform against the All-Ireland champions, but are a little bit too hasty, and their control is letting them down slightly at this point in time, and they'll pay dearly for this with free taking of this quality that you're going to see in a moment.
The free taker will be Joe Dean from Killa. Joe playing in his 10th championship match. Made his debut against Limerick, and he's put that one over the bar. So it's a second point for Cork, the All-Ireland, the Munster and All-Ireland champions. A stage of the game now where Limerick just need to settle down, get their rhythm going, get that speed into their game that they're well capable of doing, and put it up to the champions. Here comes Kieran Carey, ever remembered for that magnificent point he scored against Clare down in the Gaelic grounds, 96 that year. Here is into James Butler, and Butler has put it left. Well aware, even though today is just his debut, that you get just that amount of space, that amount of time to get your shot in.
He's an exciting player, young Butler. He's played very well through the league. A little bit overexcited the last day in the league semi-final, but he has the makings of a fine hurler, and this stage will do him no harm whatsoever.
That semi-final, of course, was here against Tipperary, so they have the experience of playing there. James Moran firing it back in again. Taken down here by Butler once more. Second shot of the target, perhaps. No, inside, and put over the bar by Brian Begley. Begley from Munster. His first point. Well, he's had an eventful opening 7 minutes of the game. Already had his name taken. Now he's scored Limerick's first point. It was a lovely pass from Butler to Begley to make it all happen. And Limerick, I notice, already warming up. Dave Stapleton. Meanwhile, Fergal McCormack driving that one in towards Shonny McGrath. Racing after him over there is Stephen Lucy. McGrath. It gives a chance there to Mark Foley to get this one out. Remember his fantastic performance down in Porky Queeve in '96. The day that Limerick absolutely trounced Cork. Mickey O'Connell inside towards Shonny McGrath. Some holding. Free in. The holding is done by Stephen Lucy. Stephen, who was the centre half back on the under-21 football team, and of course son of Mick Lucy, the former rugby international.
Limerick don't need to do this. I mean, they're going to be punished severely for this. They have to keep their discipline. In hurling, if you give away too many frees like that, they're soft targets, they're soft scores, they're hard earned in regular play, so it's dangerous policy to pursue.
You can't give away chances, as you say, against Joe Dean, a mere 30 metres out when he struck that one. Let's have a look at the skill of this just moments ago here. Mark Foley was involved. Whoops, taking it away there from Timmy McCarthy, then getting it back onto the stick. Great clearance. Mike O'Brien in there challenging. Nice hand pass outside. Barry Foley. Great run by Barry Foley. They need a score. He can't provide it. Well, Barry Foley still remembered for the 4 points he scored in the '96 All-Ireland final, all in the first half, but substituted in the second. How fortunes can change. That's now a second wide for Limerick. Donald O'Cusack from Cloyne about to puck this one out. Timmy McCarthy trying to race into the clear. Chasing after him is Brian Geary. Geary still gives chase. McCarthy is bottled up successfully. Quaid is out. Ball goes wide. It was a close call.
This is Timmy McCarthy's kind of stock and trade. He gets the ball and runs at the fences. Last year in the Munster final didn't do very well. All-Ireland final did very well, but he's a strong carrier of the ball.
I think he got 3 points in the All-Ireland final. I think he did really well that particular day. Still remembered, of course, for a great goal he got he got at under-21 level against Tipperary a few years ago. Won the match for them. Mike O'Brien rises up for it. Pat Ryan's there as well. Fired long, down, into the corner. James Butler. He had just enough time, but he never really threatened Donald Cusack. Good change of direction. Solid goalkeeping. Up towards Neil Ronan. McCormack's there as well. Nicely balanced by Brian Geary for Limerick. Stopped by Ben O'Connor. Pressure there. And the man in the corner is Stephen Lucy. Comes out towards Mark Foley. Another fine lengthy clearance by Foley. Sean O'Halpine going in there to deny Shane O'Neill. Coming up with James Butler once again. He's had a few chances, he's missed one, he's made another, he's scored his first of the game.
Sure, this should settle this young man down, because he really is a promising hurler, and that's exactly what he needs in a championship match, to get off his mark early, and that's an excellent point. He's playing very well.
This was the pressure that was exerted there on Sean O'Halpine. And when it came to Butler, off his left-hand side, he struck it magnificently. Puck out by Cusack. Fergal McCormack drifts towards the left again, gets there ahead of Ollie Moran. He's trying to open up a gap there in that half-forward line. McCormack still. Kicking, stopped by Quaid. Out to DJ Ryan, difficulty with his first touch. Still trying to get it away from Ben O'Connor. Lots of pressure. Beyond James Moran, picked up here by O'Halpine. Shane O'Neill's after him. Effective shoulder, but it still comes back towards Pat Ryan for Cork. The All-Ireland champions looking to force another one, but they failed to get it. And it's still 3 points to 2.
Jared, just on Sean O'Halpine, I think people who might follow other sports like rugby.
This was McCormack just a moment ago here, Liam, as he was coming through all the way, almost Timmy McCarthy fashion, kicked, saved by Joe Quaid. What you were saying?
Yes, but Sean O'Halpine, if you watch rugby, the Samoans are great runners of the ball, and he has the footwork of a Samoan, and it really is special to watch when he gets in flight with the ball.
And of course he spent his early years in Fiji. Brian Corcoran spent his early years down learning his trade in East Cork. Trade as a hurler, that is. Here comes another East Cork man, Mickey O'Connell. Hand passing it out as far as Neil Ronan. Pressure there on Stephen Lucy, and they come in, and McGraw's got it, and McGraw's got the opening goal of the match. Shawnee McGraw, after 12 minutes. It should have been cleared. It really should have been cleared. But McGraw was there to pick up the pieces. Neil Ronan lobbing it in here. The pressure was all on Stephen Lucy going backwards. McGraw got the first touch and beat Joe Quaid. And the opening goal of this game comes after 12 minutes of play. Good work by McGraw. A really pacey corner forward, good predator. Always alert to the possible chance that might come his way. Very often only a half chance. Frank Murphy there in the centre of that Cork bench. County Board Secretary, of course. All the way down along. It's a strong Cork bench. Here comes Kieran Carey. Can he lift Limerick? They need a score. And he's got it. Ever the man for the big occasion. Kieran Carey from Patrick's Well. And that's a quick response, so just a goal in it. Well, this is where that ball was scooped in there brilliantly by Shawnee McGrath. Wrong footing Stephen Lucy. Ollie Moran coming out with it. It's dropped down once again. There's a gap. Overcommitment by the half-backs. It's Timmy McCarthy. That's enough. A first for McCarthy from Castle Lyons. And Cork respond once again to that Kieran Carey point. And once again they enjoy a 4-point lead. But this is his stock in trade, running at defences, shortening the grip, getting enough space. This is knocked on there towards Barry Foley. Brian Corcoran, good vision, back to Diarmuid O'Sullivan. Quick rapid delivery, back up towards full forward. Comes out towards Shane O'Neill. Kieran Carey getting there ahead of his man, and it's Sean O'Halpine who was anticipating. Beat James Butler to it. Batted out by Mark Foley. He's playing well at left half back. Driven down by James by Mike O'Brien. Inside towards Brian Begley. And again it's Wayne Sherlock here. Coming out with it. Timmy McCarthy unable to keep the ball in play.
That was a free, Jar. I mean, there's no question about that. The crowd are incensed by that, and Limerick have been giving away a lot of frees, but they earned one there, which they should have had.
This is it again here. Well, that was the interception by Sean O'Halpine. Happened just before that incident. Oof, that could have ended up in the back of the net. It's gone for a 65. Corner back and goalkeeper were going for the same ball. Doesn't look completely at ease in spite of that Shawnee McGrath goal. There's John Brown there. He's up against James Butler. So what can they make of this 65 struck by Mark Keane? And he's put it over. His first free of the match. Great play by the South Liberties man. I think Limerick will feel if they can stay nice and tight to Cork for 3/4 of this match, anything could happen.
A very good duel in prospect here at the moment between Timmy McCarthy and Mark Foley, one of the best half-backs in the country at the moment.
Brian Geary is beaten for it. Falls down to Fergal McCormack, lashing it in towards Joe Dean, getting out there ahead of his man, TJ Ryan. Ben O'Connor's in, Ryan's coming out with it. Great play by the fullback. Plays at half-back with his club. Used play up in the forwards for Limerick, of course, at senior level. Dropped back in by Shane O'Neill once again, opening it out there towards Barry Foley. Coming out first time is Fergal Ryan, Cork's captain this year. Wayne Sherlock, partially blocked. Still got a lot on it. In towards the goal scorer, Shawnee McGrath. Beating Lucy to it, and he has put it wide.
Fergal Ryan is one of the tightest markers in the game. He's been improving over the years steadily, and it's very hard for Barry Foley to make headway on Fergal. He's
match. Great catch by Mike O'Brien. Back it comes towards his midfield ally there, James Moran. Lobbed in towards Brian Begley. Begley, can he make something of it? He quite can't in the end. He hit it instinctively. He's put an awful lot of sport this year. Of course, star full forward as well with the under-21 team that went all the way as far as the All-Ireland final. Jimmy Hartigan there in the background. Michael Fitzgerald as well. Eamon Cregan here, the team manager. Donald Cusack. Again, Fergal McCormack goes for the puck out towards the left-hand side. They're all landing down in that direction. Here's O'Halpine taking it away from Mike O'Brien. And once again it's Mark Foley. I think he loves playing against Cork. Rises his game every time when he faces the blood and bandages that they call him. Brian Corcoran, a little hesitant there, comes back out. Wayne Sherlock dropping it down, stopped over there by Mark Foley. It runs on, however, for Shawnee McGrath. Trying to go by Stephen Lucy from Croom. Oh, he's got the legs on Lucy here, it seems, and he has found the target. A goal and a point now for Shawnee McGrath. And the Glen Rovers man is having a field day.
This is tough for Stephen Lucy. He's on a really on fire Shawnee McGrath, who's bringing him out the field and creating a lot of space in which to play and give himself room to score.
Well, Lucy's club have done well recently. They've just won the Limerick All-County Division 2 League, trained by former team boss Tom Ryan, for whom Joe Quaid here made his championship debut against Cork back in 1994, I seem to remember. Here's Sean O'Halpine, challenge chased by Shane O'Neill. Ollie Moran lets it run in after. McGrath's out there. Lucy had enough time this particular occasion, but still doesn't get it away. It's Ben O'Connor going by. TJ Ryan trying to stop him, and Ben O'Connor fires it over the bar. His first point.
You know, Stephen Lucy is in serious trouble now. He's hanging his head slightly as well. You know, you can see by him his confidence is down. It's not easy for him at the moment.
Well, it wouldn't surprise me if changes were about to be made by Limerick, because they are certainly under pressure, certainly in that full back line. And there was Ben O'Connor beating TJ Ryan. And it looks now as though we are indeed about to have a change, and Clem Smith is about to come into the Limerick defence, almost certainly.
Clem Smith played excellently in the league semi-final, had a great game in the second half. He should be an addition to Limerick if his injury is not holding him up.
This is the big question. He has this injury. He wasn't fit enough to start. Will they now bring him in after just about 20 minutes play? That's in towards Shawty McGrath. Mickey O'Connor coming to it. Turn of the legs there of Mark Foley. Nothing intentional. Mark says there was a dive, but it certainly wasn't intentional in my view. Clem Smith is in.
A strong, powerful hurler on his day, and he should make a difference, but it's a bit risky with a guy that's heavily strapped going into this serious championship hurling.
So the player who is about to make way is Stephen Lucy. Just didn't go well for him today. Brian Geary has gone back into the corner. Free has been taken, by the way, by Joe Dean. As we were noting the substitution, he's put that over the bar. It's his third point of the match. So Cork holding the advantage after just over 21 minutes play. Limerick needing something special now. Brian Corcoran has discarded the black helmet, thundering down the field. Hand pass outside here. Ooh, Mickey O'Connor went down under the weight of the challenge. Mark Foley again protesting. It's twice he's been caught now in the last 30 seconds. Nothing really malicious, but it's going to be a free once again to the Munster champions. O'Connell to take this. Scored 8 points against Waterford in last year's semi-final of the Munster Championship. And Limerick are about to make a second substitution. Dave Stapleton is about to come in. That's dropping a little short. It's also dropping left. They do their best to keep it in play, but not effectively so. So there is Dave Stapleton. Jimmy Hartigan, the county secretary, giving him a little slip of paper. So Limerick using up 2 of their possible 5 substitutions before the 23rd minute has been reached. And Barry Foley is going off. Well, how fortunes can change. Nephew of Sean Foley, of course, played in the 1973 All-Ireland semi-final. That's the first substitution, but I tell you, as the game goes on, there'll be many, many more. It's going to be a Limerick sideline ball. They need something special. Dave Stapleton has gone in as a direct replacement for Barry Foley at top of the left. Meanwhile, it's Sean O'Halpine. Great athleticism. Terrific sportsman. Bottled up well in there. That's very good play by Limerick, and James Moran combined really well there with a colleague to make sure that Sean Og wasn't going anywhere in a hurry. In the end, a free to the Shannonsiders. This is the first free of the match to Limerick. Nearly 24 minutes gone. This is in towards Begley. He got the stick to it as well. It would have been a great point. Good old-fashioned type of hitting it over the head stuff.
It's noticeable that, you know, when the high balls come in, Diarmuid O'Sullivan is lining himself up directly behind Brian Begley because he expects him to catch and he's going to bat. You know, he's obviously made this out. That's the way he's going to play him. You put your hand up, I'm going to bat it, and that's the way it's going to be.
Donal O'Cusack firing it straight down the centre towards Neil Ronan.
Early pull.
An early pull, yes, it's going to be a free. Foul on Clem Smith. Free to Limerick. So just to repeat that little statistic we gave you about 30 seconds ago, this is their second free. It's taken by Ollie Moran. Down towards Begley. Brian Corcoran was going for it, missed it. Still they pressurise. James Butler's in there against Fergal Ryan. Wayne Sherlock trying to keep it away from Begley. John Brown running into James Butler outside towards Brian Corcoran. And he wallops it away downfield. Back in there once again by a very determined Mark Foley. Lovely pick up here by Mark Keane. Out towards Mike O'Brien. Can O'Brien put this over the bar? They look at it. And he gets it. Mike O'Brien from Glenroe.
You'd have to say the Limerick midfield are on top. They've had 3 or 4 very fine high catches, and they're doing very well at midfield.
Well, this was one of Cork's problems last year, trying to get on top time and again in the midfield zone. It was a problem area for Jimmy Barry Murphy because he had a very, very good defence. Fergal McCormack against Ollie Moran. Drops loose. Hit away by James Moran. Nicely caught here by James Butler. Chasing after him is John Brown. Great block down by John Brown. Gets it away to Timmy McCarthy. Mark Foley is in there to challenge. And Mark ties him up a little bit over there. But Cork still get the sideline ball. 9 minutes to the break. So Cork with a 5-point lead. Mickey O'Connell to take this. TJ Ryan hesitated somewhat. Neil Ronan trying to get that ball up. They wait for it to come out. Clem Smith's around. James Moran trying to direct it away. Still pressure on the Limerick defence. Forward by McCormack. He clashes with Clem Smith. Stephen McDonough gets that ball away. Brian Corcoran, lovely catch. And a great block down by Kieran Carey. That is superb skill. It'll be a sideline ball to Cork. 10 out of 10 for Carey.
It's a lesson for young hurlers, Joe. You never give up. You can always get a block down on your player. If he wins the ball, you've got a great chance still to get a block down with your stick.
2 brilliant hurlers in action. Peak of their form. O'Halpine. He gets a really good connection. But Clem Smith's back there. Nobody's challenging. Comes back out towards Mark Foley. Delivers it once again in typical fashion. Down to the inside forward. Do something with it, he seems to be telling them. David O'Sullivan's in there trying to deny. The substitute has come in, Dave Stapleton, and Cork get it away. McCormack against Glenn Smith, runs on towards Stephen McCarthy. Great work back there in the corner. Stephen McDonough. Geary did really well just to hold up the red tide, as it were. 2 Limerick sticks going for the same ball. Breaks out to Neil Ronan, crossing the 65-metre line. In towards Ben O'Connor. Pat Ryan was available as well. He's just ahead. Here he is. Challenged by James Moran. Gets the shot in. He's put it wide. That is 6 wides now by Cork.
Jared, the Cork full back line is really dominant in there, and Limerick are finding it very hard to break them down. And that's probably one of the main reasons why Limerick are not making a bigger headway on it.
I see Dave Punch down on the sideline here, urging the Limerick team on. Pressure on Wayne Sherlock. Dave Stapleton, hands and knees job. Mickey O'Connell tripped. Stapleton the guilty party, free to Cork. Mickey O'Connell, deep intake of breath. Playing today in his 6th championship match. This free is just inside Cork's 65-metre line. There's little or no breeze around. TJ Ryan coming out, gathering. Great play. Good clearance. Brad Corcoran against Kieran Carey. What catch again. Great hand pass, wonderful vision by Corcoran. We're seeing some wonderful performances all around the field. And that was a foul there on James Moran. It's going to be a free to Limerick. Quick word in his ear there by Fergal McCormack to Neil Ronan, his colleague. But what a catch that was by last year's hurler of the year, Brian Corcoran from Erin's Own. The free is taken by Mark Foley. He's going for it, trying to drop it in, trying to drop it over, and he's done exactly that. First point for Mark Foley from Adair. That most beautiful spot in County Limerick. So now it's 1-7 to 6 points, and it's still anybody's match. 5 minutes to go to half-time. And what about this for a second wonderful catch in the space of about 3 minutes? Almost acrobatic stuff, certainly balletic.
It shows you all that's great about hurling, doesn't it? A man had the courage to go up there and grab that ball.
I noticed that Mark Foley has gone in on Fergal McCormack in recent times, but right now going through the Limerick defence, or attempting to do so, is Joe Dean. Hand passed inside towards Ben O'Connor. Steve McDonough, what a wonderful player. Great experience there. McDonough has played in 2 All-Ireland finals, read the flight path excellently, and another brilliant catch. 3 catches in the space of about 5 minutes by Brian Corcoran, fed out to Wayne Sherlock, trying to provide another score, and he's done exactly that. It's his first point. Doesn't score too many in the Cork colours. I think that might be his first in championship hurling, but it was made for him by Brian Corcoran.
If you contrast that with Joe Dean at a simple point, but there's a little bit of over-elaboration in the Cork full forward line, and that shows the difference with that point.
In the last couple of minutes, Shane O'Neill has been switched on to Corcoran. Kieran Carey has gone into Mark Shonogo Halpine. 4 minutes to the break. Joe Dean. Stephen McDonough was protesting, expecting something, doesn't get anything, however. Neil Ronan instead, taking on TJ Ryan. Came on in 96 down in Torquay Queen when Limerick had a fantastic win. Scored 4 points that afternoon. And that's going to be a throw ball. Oh, gets a bit frustrating, and let's hope it doesn't get any more heated than that. That's Pat Ryan, the number 9 of Cork, involved in that. And this again is very silly.
Very silly, and in fairness, the referee should have blown this up way before this ever happened. It was a free earlier on, he should have blown it up, and that's it. And that's what causes these kind of problems.
It's absolutely untypical, quite honestly, because Cork Limerick matches are always the most sporting.
But if you're out of the game for 9 months and the referee doesn't want to blow a whistle just at the ball, you know, when somebody's on the ball, that causes these type of difficulties.
Stephen McDonough being booked. And let's hope behind the referee's back nothing else happened. The referee has come here to do his level best to make sure that it's a flowing game that we can all enjoy. Now it's up to the players. Pat Ryan just spoken to there, I think warned about his behaviour. But the referee has to take firm action. That's Ollie Moran also being spoken to. Name being taken. Limerick with 3 yellow cards now, Cork with 1. Their one coming in the opening 30 seconds of the match, Diarmuid O'Sullivan. Well, the Limerick followers now will be hoping that their team can settle down, being too tense. They need to start flowing with the game, as it were. McDonough, whipped on there by James Moran. Cross towards Mark Keane. Trying to turn Wayne Sherlock, not easy. Decisive play by the number 5. Up towards a free-running Joe Dean, taking his man out of position. But his man does well, and that's TJ Ryan, and that's a mighty clearance. Way downfield. What a catch. Terrific play by Fergal Ryan. Comes out to Mike O'Brien. Runs it to Mickey O'Connell. On towards Mark Foley, crossing the 65-metre line. He's already scored 1 huge point. That from a free. And this time he leaves it to the left. So inside the final minute of the first half. But this is what was happening just moments ago there. That wonderful catch by Brian Corcoran. I think that's 3 he's made in this game. Cork with 16 scoring chances in the first half. Limerick with 12. Cork getting 9 scores. Limerick with 6. And again, I come back to it, Liam. You just feel if Limerick can settle down and start playing the game that Eamon Cregan knows they can play, they could be most effective.
Yes, but they're tense because they're afraid to let them get away from them. So they're playing with a little bit. It's like as if they're afraid to lose or let it go away. So they're not flowing. And I think if they could flow, they would be served a lot better.
Mike O'Brien with the latest wide, and that is now a total of 6. Clem Smith there with his right thigh very heavily strapped up. Limerick were in trouble. They needed to make those early changes. They lost a goal, of course, after 12 minutes. That's Pat Ryan in here for Mark Landers. Coming onto it is Sean O'Halpine, challenged by Moran. Oh, the hand pass was a little bit too long. Limerick get it back. Pat Ryan, who's been close to a starting lineup for quite some time, but they've also got Derek Barrett in their ranks, so I think he's one of the really unlucky ones not to be in that defence, but it is a very good back line. And Sean O'Halpine catches the last ball of the opening 35 minutes, 36 in fact, and at half-time that goal by Shawnee McGrath, so influential. After 12 minutes, Brian Corcoran outstanding at centre-half back. Already Kieran Carey has been taken off him. Limerick have a lot to do, and they need to really get their game going against the All-Ireland champions, because in Thurles it's Cork 1-8, Limerick 6 points. Let's go down to Jim Carney.
Dave Punch, Limerick selectors against you on the scoreboard, but yet you're well there.
Oh yeah, there's only 5 points in it at the moment, Jim, but okay, we conceded what I would consider a soft goal. We are under a bit of pressure, especially I think our half forward are under pressure at the moment. Cork have started to dominate there in the last, 10 minutes, but there's still 35 minutes to go.
You were clearly unhappy there in the on the sideline with a few of the decisions that went against you early on, Dave.
Yeah, okay, I'm not going to say whether the referee was right or wrong. I think it's probably unfair. Naturally, I'm going to have a bias if anything, but yeah, well, there was a few, but in fairness, that's not the reason we're the 5 points out at the moment.
Finally, Dave, you've moved Kieran. What do you expect from him in the second half?
Well, hopefully, I think in fairness now, Brian Corcoran in the last 10 minutes, as I said, was getting the better. So we just made a switch because we were hoping to bring both Shane and Kieran into the game. So in the second half, obviously hoping for that they're going to win in those areas.
Thank you very much, Dave. Best luck.
Thanks, Jim.
The All-Ireland champions have the upper hand. Can they retain it? Can they hold on to it and stay on course to retain their titles? Analysis after the break. You're welcome back indeed. So it's half-time at Semple Stadium in Thurles in this Munster Senior Hurling Championship clash, and everything to play for in this game. This is what the statistics tell us at half-time. Cork lead the match 1-8 to 6 points. There didn't seem on the statistics to be as many frees as it seemed in the actual flowing of the game. 3 to Limerick, 7 to Cork. Wides, they're level on wides, just at 165, and that was actually a point at 65 as well. And there have been 4 yellow cards so far in this first half against Limerick. It was Stephen McDonough, Ollie Moran and Brian Begley and Dermot O'Sullivan, the player booked for Cork. All right, joining me in studio to look at that first half, we have Tomas McGahey and Pete Finnerty. The big difference, I suppose, Pete, between the two has been, not just in terms of the quality of play, but the goal as well that Cork got, because it's been tight enough apart from that.
It was tight enough up to that, and Limerick had their fair share and Cork had their fair share, and if anything the goal came against the run of play. Cork really hadn't settled into the game, and Limerick don't want them to settle into the game, to be frank about it, and it was to and fro, and Limerick were settling down. Mark Foley was playing well at wing back, he was getting the ball up. Kieran Carey was having a good tussle with Brian Corcoran at that stage. Halpine wasn't as much in the game either, nor Sherlock, and they were getting the ball down the wings and inside, and Begley was having a right go at O'Sullivan inside. At that stage, you'd say that Limerick were doing extremely well, but then suddenly Cork, against the run of play, got the goal. But again, one opportunity with the likes of players of McGrath and Dean and Cronin, and they're going to put you away. It was a ball that came in from midfield, and it was a speculative shot enough that lobbed short. But again, Lucy was the wrong side of his man, got caught flat-footed, and Dean or McGrath again didn't do anything, just tapped the ball into the back of the net, the simple thing, didn't even put it into his hand. Here we see a big guy. You feel sorry for Stephen Lucy coming into a championship match, first big game, and to have to mark a player of that calibre. And we're only commenting on about it here. Don't you know, really, he should have maybe been played at the half-back line, don't you know, because you get a little bit more breathing space out there, and you get a chance to play your game.
This is more of Shawnee's match.
Oh, here we see Shawnee again. This is where he destroyed Lucy, and this was time to change Lucy at this stage. He just turns him on a sixpence, down the wing, looks up and over the bar. The bread and butter that he's done all year last year, and he's on a high again.
Tomas, Cork have that 5-point advantage at half-time. There was a chance to Limerick in that first half. They might have had a goal themselves.
Yeah, Barry Foley got a good opportunity in the first half period and went through with a great ball. Personally, I would have felt maybe he should have knocked it over the bar, because Limerick need every scoring opportunity, and they need to take every scoring opportunity. It was a great shot, but I mean, a point at that stage of the game maybe would have settled him down. He's now been removed from the play.
Yeah.
Maybe you would feel that he should maybe be allowed another couple of minutes at that stage to kind of express himself. I thought it was a bit harsh removing him that quickly, because out front of him, certainly the half-hour line is struggling badly. Cork half-back line are very, very dominant, and if Limerick are to win this game, they're going to get need some inroads in the half-hour line.
I'm not quite sure that he mightn't just have had an injury to Moss, because I thought that he seemed to just hobble a little bit going off, but however, we might find that out later on. Let's look at the incidents, Pete, that happened in this first half, more from the point of view that something that Liam Griffin said, and some of our callers made this point after last week's match as well between Tip and Waterford, the teams are afraid to lose these games because there's so much at stake, and it brings this kind of tension into the game.
It does. It's a very valid point, and Liam is right. You have a team, Limerick have been out of the championship for 11 months effectively, and they're all hyped up and they want this big game with Cork. They've been thinking about it for 6 months, and they don't want the game to develop. I'm not blaming Limerick for this, and in fairness, the referee has a lot to answer for in that, because he should have blown for it a long time before that. But in games that are so tense and so tight, and you've been waiting all year for this match, Cork had a great year last year, Limerick had nothing. Limerick don't want the game to develop. In actual fact, they don't want it to flow, because they know Cork are so good, they'll destroy them.
Yeah.
So they'll bring it down to a hard-hitting physical game and slow Cork down and play by any means. There should have been a free blown up at that stage, whether you give it to Cork or whether you give it to Limerick at that stage.
Yeah,
just call it there and then.
I think a slap ball was the right method on this occasion, because Neil Ronan's on the ground, TJ Ryan is standing over him. Neither one can actually play the ball, so you must blow the whistle and throw in a slap ball.
Yeah.
It's allowed to develop, and certainly you don't want to see scenes like this in Munster Championship hurling. But look,
the referee has been slow to react in that particular instance. Overall in that first half, how do you think he's refereed it?
I think on certain occasions, I think he's been harsh, in Limerick on 1 or 2 occasions as well, showed the charges that he's given maybe dubious frees to Cork. I know Limerick have conceded an awful lot of frees in the first half period as well, but like, when there's a foul, you must blow the whistle, or else in hurling especially, things are going to develop.
Sure.
If you're not in quick with the whistle, it will develop.
Yeah. Last week, Pete, we saw Waterford 5 points down at half-time to Tipperary. We thought Waterford might be able to do enough and that it wasn't too big a gap to pull back, and of course we saw what happened to them. 5 points in this one as well.
5 points again in this one, but looking out, the Cork half-back line are playing so well at the moment. At the beginning, all you had was O'Halby, and he was magnificent. Next thing, Corcoran starts, Sherlock starts. There's nothing going inside into the Limerick full forward line. Cork are coming... McCormack out the wing, they've left a big gap in the middle, and they're just... Who's going down? Timmy McCarthy. He's doing what he did in the All-Ireland final. He's running down on goal. He's going to get another opportunity, throwing a ball to McGrath or to Dean, and they're going to put it away. I can't see Limerick pulling it back at this stage.
There was 1 or 2 of the Cork scores in the first half, Tomas, that had a touch of the exhibition stuff about them. If these guys opened up, they could take Limerick apart.
They could, but I would have a little bit of a worry about it as well, because I think if Jimmy Barrymore will have a few harsh words to say to their forwards. There's a small bit of over-elaboration in the forward line, maybe hand-passing balls to guys when they had opportunities to shoot themselves. Last year, you had free-flowing hurling, hit the ball into the square into Joe Dean. If it breaks off, put it over the bar. This time round, we see a little bit of over-elaboration.
Yeah, but that's my point. Yes. They don't feel they're under pressure.
They don't feel under pressure, yeah, but certainly, I mean, they're not stretching their lead, right? Limerick are still much in this game, very much in this game, you know. It's grand to do the fancy stuff when you're 8 or 9 points ahead at that stage, but you must kill the game first, and there are opportunities that fell to Cork that they didn't take in that first half.
Okay, we saw the interview just before the half-time commercial break. Dave Punch acknowledged that Limerick have a few problems up there, Pete.
They have a few problems, and they have a lot of work to do. And you look at Cork, you'd say Cork are in about third gear at the moment, really, but there's no urgency about them, and Tomas is right, there's still only 5 points in it. A goal in hurling can come like that, a second goal comes, and the next thing Cork or Limerick will get this momentum out of nowhere, but I can't see it happening, really. Limerick don't have enough players playing well in any position. Mark Foley is probably the one player that's holding his own. The rest are involved in all the tussles. Like, there was about 10 Limerick players in there straight away into the tussle. They should be concentrating on hurling, getting the better of their own man on a 1-to-1. Midfield is probably breaking 50-50. But in the Cork defence, again, they're just storming into it, and in the second half, I can't see any way through for Limerick.
Any word, Tomas? Can your lads do it?
I would expect Cork to maybe to push home their advantages in the second half. The play should open up even more at this stage, which will suit the likes of Seanie McGrath, the Ben O'Connors and the Jodines on the inside line.
Let's go back to Thurles.
Yes, it is 1-8 for Cork, 6 points, and straight away the players get into it. Mickey O'Connell leaving it here for Pat Ryan this time. Sides who have faced one another on 55 occasions in Munster Championship action. Wayne Sherlock is beaten by Dave Stapleton. Stapleton's come out to left half forward in a switch with Mark Keane. Mark Keane is now top of the left. He's being marked by Fergal Ryan. That's James Moran, not a good shot. Ryan here, second attempt, gets it up onto his stick. Wayne Sherlock comes, gathers, drives it away to midfield. Fergal McCormack playing well, but he's beaten by Ollie Moran. O'Halpin's in quickly. McCormack's there as well. And that, once again, is Kieran Carey, who seems to have gone back to centre half forward. Meanwhile, Ollie Moran looking for the first point of the second half, and Ollie Moran looks to have got it. No, it's stopped on the goal line. Just drops a little short. Donald Cusack doing well. And the referee says he took far too many steps, and it's going to be a free from the 20-metre line. Well, he stopped at almost certain point by Ollie Moran, but now Limerick should make amends. Here's it taken quickly. Mark Keane took it quickly across towards James Butler. They had a really simple chance of taking a point. They went for something special, got nothing. Kieran Carey back in on the 40 again, stopped by Sean O'Halpin. Brian Corcoran trying to come out with this. Partly blocked. Clem Smith fires it in defiantly and with accuracy and puts it between the posts. Limerick get that first point of the half. One presumes he takes back the captaincy. He had been the captain, but when injury prevented him starting, that honour fell to Ollie Moran.
It's difficult for Kieran Carey. You can see that he's struggling with his touch, and that's just a lack of competitive action for a while. He really is struggling with that, but he's battling hard.
Battling hard as well as Ollie Moran. James Butler tried to prod that one on one-handed. Comes back to Sean O'Halpin. Inside towards Timmy McCarthy, moves into the centre, attracts Mark Foley to him, comes back out towards Pat Ryan, and Ryan puts it over the bar from a huge distance out. That's his first point of the game.
I think that Jimmy Barry will have told the Cork lads at half-time, look, quit the messing and over-elaboration, get that ball and lash it over the bar. That's what they've just done. And I think if Cork stick with that, I think we'll see Limerick in a lot of trouble. Cork half-back line, as the lads said at half-time, have cleared, I think, 12 balls in the first half to Limerick 7, and that tells its own tale.
Michael Bryan, hands and knees, getting it back there towards Ollie Moran, pushing forward. He's fouled. Fouled by Pat Ryan. Referee explaining why to the man from Sarsfields in Glanmire. It'll be a free on the 65-metre line for Limerick. Hoping to take every possible chance now as Mark Keane comes out. He's already pointed 165. Only one of the match. This time he goes short again. This time they have the chance, but it's put wide by James Moran. Two possible point opportunities going and begging for Limerick in the opening minutes of the second half. Kieran Carey spooning it back there towards Ollie Moran. Neil Ronan about to put in the challenge. Cork with a man down on the ground in need of attention. It's fired in there beautifully. They come forward once more, and again it's Begley. He's discarded that helmet, still trying to get it forward, but stout defence by Cork, and John Brown comes out. Inside towards Fergal McCormack, towards Seanie McGrath. Little bit of trickery by McGrath. Players coming to Limerick's rescue. TJ Ryan coming out from full back, only as far as McCormack. He's 45 metres out. Cork's injured players back on his feet once again. And that shot is fired in, and it's put over the bar by Fergal McCormack. That is his first point of the match. 2 shots on the target, and he makes it this time. And he's also made it 1-10 to 7 points. Cork have been very decisive all over the park. They haven't been fouling. And in the second half, I think what Liam Griffin says is absolutely right. I'm sure Jimmy Barry has said, let's not over-elaborate. Do what you do best. Keep it simple. Keep it flowing. That's a great block down initially by Kieran Carey. And the second time, it's James Moran who goes in to deny Brian Corcoran, who commits the foul, and it'll be a free to Limerick 65 metres out.
Despite the difficulties that Kieran Carey is having, I mean, that's a tremendous block down. That shows all that's best in hurling, the skill, the guts to get in there and block down. And if he gets this point, it's as a direct result of Kieran Carey's applying himself to the job.
Mark Keane to take this. He has got another.
Kieran Carey's point.
Well, Kieran Carey who made it, Mark Keane who scored it, and both of his points coming from frees from 65 metres out. And now it's 110 to 8 points. Dave Hennessy of the Piershig in Limerick has just come onto the Limerick team, and Shane O'Neill is the one who's made way. Limerick are now after using 3 of their possible 5 substitutions. There's the new man in.
And he scored in his first touch in the league semi-final when he came on a magnificent point.
Inside it goes towards Shonny McGrath. Standing firm, however, is Brian Geary. Mike O'Brien swiftly firing it into the half-forward line towards Carey. Runs on instead there towards Mark Keane. Couple of Cork men around him. Still has enough room. Carey's going forward. He's got 2 men in support just ahead of him, but he was aware he was going to be hooked. Good defensive play. Wayne Sherlock here. He was aided and abetted by Brian Corcoran. Mike O'Brien. That's a great catch. Superb. Can they get a score here? Is it dropping short once again? It is. Second time it's happened in the second half. Donal O'Cusack spotting the run there of Fergal McCormack. Stephen McDonough. Man from Brewery, County Limerick. Beautifully in towards James Butler. A point so far. John Brown's after him. It's still Butler. Very awkward angle, firing it across, hoping somebody somewhere can get a stick to it. Stapleton's about. Hennessy was in there as well, and I think the ball will be thrown up. The man on his knees is Wayne Sherlock. Certainly a good spirit to this second half so far, as it should be. 7 minutes gone. Dave Stapleton in there contesting that one. But away comes Diarmuid O'Sullivan. Cork's full-back. Overplaying the hand pass. Clem Smith stepping into it. Cork without a full-back just now. A little bit vulnerable perhaps. Butler, it's going through. Stopped. Still gets a stick. Scores.
Game on.
Game on, absolutely. From the time Diarmuid O'Sullivan came out, there was a gap at the back for Cork, and it was exploited by the pacey James Butler, who's now got a goal and a point. The fair-haired man was coming through here, got just enough latitude, flicked it in, tennis style, and Limerick are right back in the hunt for a place in the Guinness Munster Hurling Championship final. Only 2 between them. Timmy McCarthy responding very positively. 2 points for McCarthy. And Cork are about to make a change. And Alan Brown is about to come in.
Every time Alan Brown has come on for Cork in the last year, he's caused plenty of problems, but he's going on to a physical player in Clem Smith, and it'll be interesting to see how he gets on there.
Neil Ronan is off. Alan Brown is on for his 12th championship match. He scored 5 goals and 10 points in his championship career so far, and Cork were looking for something special. Limerick were looking for something special now from Mike O'Brien. Oh, he sold it short there to his midfield ally, James Moran. And away by Pat Ryan. Down towards Joe Dean. Stopped, however, by the Limerick fullback, who is TJ Ryan. There's the substitution, but the real action is out there. Brian Begley trying to pick it up, and again it's Butler trying to go through, stopped by Wayne Sherlock. Chasing after him the whole time here is Dave Stapleton. Alan Brown, first chance to impress, firing it down towards Shonny McGrath, getting out there ahead of Brian Geary. And a very tricky angle, and a little too tricky on this particular occasion. And no joy for McGrath, who's got a goal and a point in the match so far. And this is James Butler. This is where he had plenty of Cork men around there, but they couldn't stop him scoring. And Limerick, I think, are about to make another change. Mike Gallagher has been prepared. Meanwhile, Mike O'Brien is trying to get that ball away. Back to Mark Foley. Firing it in towards Begley. Begley and Dermot O'Sullivan. Stopped by Donald O'Cusack. Just needed a little flick. Clem Smith breaks it down. He's supported here by James Moran. And the All-Ireland champions from last year being put under a lot of pressure now in the second half by a gutsy performance by Limerick. A lot more disciplined. Rid of the nerves of the first half. Now they're playing a bit. That's James Moran. And Begley just couldn't direct it in.
Both Mike O'Brien and James Moran are starting to really perform in the middle of the field now for Limerick. They're winning an awful lot of the ball and they're playing with gay abandon, and that's probably what they need to do to try and win this game.
Mike Gallagher's in. So Limerick making yet another change, and they are quite prepared to change things around. Dave Stapleton has gone. Clem Smith firing it down, one-handed. Alan Brown gets it back for Cork. Still loads of time for either of these sides to have a very emphatic victory. Only 3 points between the teams.
It's surprising that Cork are not trying to play a lot of good ball, quality ball in front of that full forward line. They've had several long wides from out on the wings, and it is surprising they're not trying to bring them more into the game by giving them good quality ball.
Jerry O'Connor has just come in. He's a twin brother of Ben O'Connor. Just wonder who he's going to replace. It's going to be Mickey O'Connell. So it will necessitate some restructuring. Jerry O'Connor in for his second championship match. Played, of course, against Kerry 8 days ago. Mike O'Brien steadying himself. It's dropping to the right. Unable to put the Cork defence under sufficient danger there.
See Eamon Cregan telling him that time, Mike O'Brien, who's playing very well to keep the ball alive, not be driving it wide like that, because they're very hard to come by, and quality ball into the inside forwards is paramount for Limerick as well.
Alan Brown has gone over there to do a job on Clem Smith to try and negative his influence, and there was a third-man tackle, I think. It's going to be a free to Cork. Looks like James Moran has come off second best there. There was Clem Smith, and there was Moran coming in. Form of third-man tackle, outlawed, of course. Pat Ryan to take the free. He strikes it well. Second point for Pat Ryan. Cork extend their lead. And there are now 13 minutes gone in the second half. One happy young supporter. Joe Quaid now playing his hurling with Maru Bohor. His side 4 points adrift. Timmy McCarthy tripped. But the referee says, come on, it was just an accidental clash of legs, and he's not giving the free to Cork. Instead, it's going to be a free to Limerick. Eamon Cregan was out by the sideline, still having words there with the referee.
Timmy McCarthy's actually moved out to pick up Mike O'Brien, who's been winning a lot of ball in the air. Timmy McCarthy's good in the air also, and I suspect he's put out there to counteract him.
Of course, he's been figuring in recent times with the Cork footballers as well. This was where he was trying to get that ball away, and just a little tangle of legs, and he fell on the ball, and the referee didn't blow for a free, which I think he was perfectly right in not doing. And the foul was committed by Timmy McCarthy. Here comes Kieran Carey. Good ball outside towards Mike Gallagher, or rather it's Mark Keane. And Mark Keane has put it wide. A lot of wasted chances now.
Well, Ger, really there, you know, these are vital points to take. I mean, you're right beside the goal, you're 20 yards out, you're hand past the ball. To win matches like this for Limerick, you really do have to get scores like that. They have to be converted.
4 wides in the second half for Limerick, 10 in all. Far too many. Alan Brown belted in beyond Joe Dean in no great direction, and Dean didn't really have much of a chance of profiting from that particular piece of possession.
if you look, Ger, the two managers are, Eamon Cregan is working like a beaver up and down the line. And that's his style. He really is enthusiastic, pushing his team, looking for more. Jimmy Barry's a little bit more kind of circumspect and laid back, but I'm sure in his head there's a battle going on as well.
You wouldn't fancy me out there, would you?
Love it.
Oh, I don't think anybody would like to be a manager on a day like this.
Well, they're two great men. If they were managers in any sport in the world, they would be the top of their three. Two magnificent players over their lifetime, and here they are on the sideline, fit to manage any team anywhere in the world in any sport.
This has gone in towards Brian Begley. Taking on Diarmuid O'Sullivan. O'Sullivan got the block on it. John Brown's back to cover. Challenged by Mike Gallagher. Hand pass into space, and Brown is fouled as he was playing that ball away, and it's going to be a free out to Cork. There is too much fouling.
But back to the managers quickly. I mean, Eamon Cregan and Jimmy Barry, they have given such service to the game, and this is all for the love of it. I mean, it's marvellous, and that's what makes hurling so special. These guys are down there because they love this game inside out, and you know, you have to admire them so much. And genuinely, you see what's been paid for managers worldwide. There's guys managing teams in Britain and all over the world. They're not in the same league as some of these fellas, good and all as that they are, and we must recognise that.
What a catch by Ollie Moran. Yes, two very well-managed teams. Wayne Sherlock, his side, with a 4 points advantage, hoping to hold on to the Munster title first of all. Under pressure, TJ Ryan, dropping it back there. He runs on towards Kieran Carey. Mike Gallagher's about. He's been about so many times in major championship matches over the years, right throughout the 90s for Limerick. Kieran Carey's persistence makes this breakout here not as far as the substitute Dave Hennessy. Diarmuid O'Sullivan and Fergal Ryan back there trying to defend. Wayne Sherlock, lovely pick up. Great strike downfield. TJ Ryan's under it. That's a great piece of fullback play. The man who was converted from being a Limerick forward to the Limerick fullback. Shonago Halpine, what a catch. What a delivery. Down to Joe Dean. There's a chance. And he's got it. And it is an absolutely brilliant goal. You will hardly see a better goal this year.
TJ Ryan has his hands on his head after a most magnificent clearance to wind up 10 seconds later with a foul in the back of your own net. That's heartbreak.
17 minutes into the second half. An absolutely fantastic catch by O'Halpine, spotting Dean inside. There you go. Bang, bang. Thank you, lads. 2-12, 1-8. Kieran Carey. James Moran coming in here. Limerick needing something quickly, and they get it from Moran, his first point.
This is hurling as well, Ger. I mean, here's a game, the fullback is probably on man of the match even, TJ Ryan. And within a second after a clearance, his man has the ball in the back of the net. This is the magic, the way hurling twists and turns like that. And that's a wonderful finish by Joe Dean.
Well, it's his second ever goal in championship hurling, and this his 10th match.
And it's nearly as cheeky as the last one he got, which was the ball was tipped in by Shawnee McGrath.
That's right.
Last year in the championship.
Clem Smith breaking it down. Limerick needing something special, somebody to come and give them that little bit of inspiration, but they have now used up 4 of their possible substitutions. Mark Foley had a great first half. Inside towards Kieran Carey. Limerick need a goal. They might get it. Butler trying to play it. Comes back towards Kieran Carey, trying to go through the eye of a needle. Still trying to motor ahead. Diarmuid O'Sullivan putting up the left hand. Begley races after him, but very much in vain. Down towards Fergal McCormack, batted away by Ollie Moran of Limerick. Oh, beautiful take there by Mike O'Brien. That was Jerry O'Connor in there challenging. Jerry operating in midfield alongside Pat Ryan. But this goal here, it was about being in the right spot at the right time, and the instinct and the genius that is Joe Dean.
Could Andre Agassi do that under pressure? Just one of those great goals.
Fergal Ryan. O'Connor. McCormack. This is taken up here by Mark Foley once again. Simon O'Sullivan against Begley. He broke it down, expecting one of the runners to come through from the inside forward positions. Nothing happened. Instead, it's Wayne Sherlock. 15 minutes remaining. Jerry O'Connor. Inside towards Dean once more. The man from Killa steadying himself. And he has put it over the bar, and the cheers in the background up there at the town end should have told us in any case, even before the white flag went up, the red and white were going up, and Joe Dean has now scored a goal and 4 points. And it's 2-13 to 1-9. The champions looking set to at least hold on to their title and make it to the Munster final. Is there a Limerick response? They've got time. This time there's a bit of holding and dragging. Shawnee McGrath's the one who is indicted by the referee. Brian Keary, the one who was being tugged back. Ollie Moran will take this free. Played a lot of rugby in his late teens, now concentrating on hurling. Inside towards Brian Begley. Out towards O'Halpine. And O'Halpine has dragged it out over the end line, and it's going to be a 65.
Kieran Carey, you know, it's a pity now if Limerick lose today. We're not going to see him again play probably this year, but he's just an inch off the pace. He could really have done with another match just to get him into it. He's just so close to having a superb game, despite the cauldron that he's in out there. And it's a shame if we're going to not see him for the rest of the year.
That's, of course, if they are beaten, like Waterford were beaten last Sunday. Here comes Mark Keane. He's got a couple so far from this distance, and now he has got himself a third, keeping Limerick in touch. They need more. The fans believe that as well, I'm sure. 6 points between the teams. I make it about 8 minutes to go. Donald Cusack. Just to correct the time, my timekeeping is 4. It's 13 minutes to go, and that's gone over the bar. And that's a lovely point, and Fergal McCormack has got a second. So 13 minutes remain. 2:14, 1:10. Mike O'Brien breaking it, but only breaking it for Jerry O'Connor. Partly blocked by Mark Foley. Ollie Moran, that's a lovely pick-up. O'Connor chases after him. Lobbed in there towards the inside forwards, and they come again. And that is put wide by Dave Hennessy. Hennessy from the Napier club.
Again, that's 2 wides now we've seen from Limerick in very, very important places, right in front of score in the goal. These should be convertible at this level. At Senior County, you need to convert them to stay in these games, and when you don't, you pay a very heavy price.
Alan Brown. It drops in there tantalisingly. Oh, that is brilliantly taken up by Brian Geary. He took it in his stride. He was facing his own goalkeeper, and he completed it brilliantly by passing it to Ollie Moran. Can Limerick profit from that? Mark Keane. Fergal Ryan swiftly back down again towards Jerry O'Connor. Dropped. Mike O'Brien having a wonderful match. Upside towards Mike Gallagher. That's Brian Corcoran. Over towards Alan Brown. Doing his level best to try and curtail the activities of Clem Smith over there.
Actually, that was a good substitution, because Clem Smith was coming very much into that game before Alan Brown came on him, and he's subdued since he came on, and it's made a difference.
Here's Pat Ryan. Oof, he cut it up well. Touch back in there towards O'Brien once more. Timmy McCarthy trying to limit his effectiveness. Brian Corcoran unable to cut that one out. Instead it's Mike Gallagher. Great block down by Fergal Ryan. What a tidy, tight player he is. Ollie Moran trying to get it away for Limerick. He has it. And Fergal McCormack was holding him back. And that'll be a free to the men from the Shannon side.
Jared, that's 2 really, really good pickups. He's tapped them into his hand both times. It's a very specialised skill in such close quarters. 2 in a row. You know, it's an exceptionally fine skill.
Two wonderful centre-backs in action here at Semple Stadium in Thurles. Don't forget, there's another live match coming up immediately after that. And that will be Meath against one of their great rivals during the 90s, Offaly. Belted ahead there by Ben O'Connor. And again, it's Ollie Moran coming across, closing down any possible danger points. Pat Ryan. Sideline ball to Limerick. So as the top left-hand corner says, 10 minutes to go. And the man who's just come in is Kevin Murray. Or is he about to come in? He's about to be brought into the action. And I think he was instructed in last year's All-Ireland final when he came on as a sub to get us a goal, I think is what Jimmy Barry said. He thought they might need a goal to win that match. Ben O'Connor has got off. They didn't need a goal that day. But he's contributed handsomely over the years and scored 2 goals against Limerick on his debut back in 1994. Dave Hennessy. There's the substitution, but here comes the activity on the park. Beautifully into Kieran Carey. Can he get a goal here? It was a difficult one. He was throwing it up there to try and get any kind of chance whatsoever to get a shot here. And Diarmuid O'Sullivan belts it away downfield for Cork. Ollie Moran. Brian Geary was there as well. Mark Foley trying to kick it away from danger. Kevin Murray chasing after him. Comes out to James Moran. In towards Big Begley once again. And again, the full-back, Diarmuid O'Sullivan, standing there, a very commanding and committed figure. Mark Foley. Whipped back in once more. Kieran Carey rises superbly. Again, he's closed down quickly. 3 players from Cork alongside him. And in the end, it's Wayne Sherlock who gets enough space and room to try and get that ball away.
Diarmuid O'Sullivan is actually dominating the edge of the square, and a lot of high balls down the middle right into the square are coming back out again. If Eamon had Cregan had somebody else as a target man up front, but I mean, he stretched his resources and he can only go so far with what he has. But definitely Diarmuid O'Sullivan is making a hell of a difference. He's clearing everything that's coming into that full back line, and perhaps he might be better off playing it out the wings.
Untypically, Brian Corcoran fumbling the first time, had to get it away quickly then off the ground. Here's Pat Ryan. Shawnee McGrath as the target. It's stopped back there by Clem Smith, dragged down by Joe Dean. And Cork are about to make a change. Timmy McCarthy is about to come off. Derek Barrett is the one who is going on. So a chance for Jimmy Barry Murphy and his backroom team to freshen up matters somewhat. Still 7 minutes to go. Wayne Sherlock. Down towards Kevin Murray. Beaten for that by Ollie Moran. Good link up with Brian Geary here. Oh, Geary, I think, was looking for Moran to give a return pass, but he might have hit it away first time. A little bit of hesitation, and Cork managed to get all of this back.
What Diarmuid O'Sullivan's missing in the full back line, Wayne Sherlock's cleaning it at the half back line. Wayne Sherlock's having an extremely good game at the half back line as well. So between the two of them, they're cleaning so much, obviously the rest of them as well, but the two of those are dominating both individual lines.
So please, mister, can we have our ball back? Happy faces there in the crowd up at the town end of Semple Stadium. And I think at this stage the crowd must be up around 40,000. It's taken by Fergal Ryan. Dropped in beautifully. Shawnee McGrath got the first goal of the match, and he's got another score now. It's a point. So a goal and 2 for McGrath from Glen Rovers. Famed club, of course, in Blackpool. 2:15 to 1:10. Here comes Derek Barrett, man from Cove. Had a wonderful National League campaign, and very unlucky not to be included from the outset of the championship. That's going to be a sideline ball to Limerick.
Limerick need a goal, Ger. They have to try and conjure a goal from somewhere. They want to stay in this game.
A goal or two, I think. McDonough. They've only 5 minutes left. Otherwise, it's the end of their championship campaign. And of course, by virtue of winning here, there will be the guarantee for a side in a Munster final of playing into August at least, as Sean O'Halbeen fires that one wide. Well, now Cork with 10 wides in this match, but they'll be satisfied with the quality of their play elsewhere. Clem Smith still in need of some attention. He's battled on bravely for his county, even though it was clearly obvious he was injured. But if this is a success for Cork, as we anticipate at this stage, they are guaranteed right at Munster final place, but they're also guaranteed at worst an All-Ireland quarter-final place. Those are the new rules.
Yes, and a lot of people have questioned those, because the difference here is that we have Limerick gone and Cork guaranteed that bit more. So that again points out our structures, which I think everybody in the game is considering.
Eamon will be very disappointed. His side lost by a point against Waterford last year. He's just lost Clem Smith, again with injury, and Willie Walsh from Morru Boher is about to come in.
And Eamon doesn't like losing, I can tell you that. He's a great man, he's a great hurling man, and he has the passion. He hates to lose, and you can understand that, because he puts so much effort in. Everywhere he's been, he's done a magnificent job in Offaly, and he's so passionate about it. He really doesn't like to lose, and who can blame him? If he did, he wouldn't be here.
Maybe we need to look again at structures. Maybe there should be some kind of a round robin that guarantees teams at least 2 matches. Joe Quaid's puck out. Derek Barrett trying to knock that one away. Getting the assistance of Wayne Sherlock, who's been absolutely magnificent in this game. Brian Geary, again, always in control, doing well. Is there a late chance here for Mark Keane? Taking on Sherlock. Getting the better of them. Hand passed outside there towards Hennessy, and he's put it over the bar. Dave Hennessy's first point.
To be fair to Mark Keane, he hasn't started today, but he was only a minor last year, a very young player in a magnificent National League. He can feel very, very happy with his year to date, even though he would be disappointed. The experience is what he needs.
Well, this was the run through here. There were occasions when Limerick maybe perhaps didn't always take the correct option. That was Hennessy putting it over. But if they are to lose, well, they've lost to an absolutely superb goal by Joe Dean. 17 minutes into the second half. Joe Quaid. Pat Ryan blasting it back. It's target practice. He's put it over. He's playing for a place now from the outset in the Munster hurling final. That's 3 from a total of 5 shots so far by Pat Ryan, and that one has gone wide. So now the championship is effectively down to 3 here for the Guinness Munster hurling title. Next it will be Tipperary and Clare. Sideline ball to Limerick. Mark Foley about to take it. And crestfallen Limerick supporters, they've been down this road so many times, but today I think they'll accept they're up against a superior force. But then again, when you win an All-Ireland title, it must give you an awful lot of inner resolve and confidence. It really is an awful shame that Limerick did not win an All-Ireland title during the 90s. They had 2 opportunities. I know you managed one of the opposing teams in 96, but perhaps...
Yeah, but still your heart
maybe
goes out to Limerick. I mean, Tom Ryan did a magnificent job at Limerick and did very, very well. And it was just unfortunate they won the All-Ireland. Of course, we were delighted to win it, but that sport... the great thing for Limerick is their minor team have got through to the Munster final this year. That's going to put them into the quarter-final. That's a good thing, and hopefully their minors will make a bit of progress.
Yes, sub-goalkeeper here, Timmy Houlihan, will be playing there. And that is put wide there by Pat Ryan. He's got 3 points in the match. which is now heading towards the 70th minute. Brian Corcoran. Begley gets there first. He's now out on the 40. O'Halpine coming tidily in there from left half back. Fergal Ryan towards Shawnee McGrath, stopped by Brian Geary. Mark Foley as well. A bit of pushing and shoving, but it's going to be a free after all of that to Limerick.
Come on, Mike, keep it going, Mike, come on.
Limerick, who had a total of 27 scoring chances, just 4 less than Cork in this match. Cork with 31 scoring chances. Derek Barrett. So they had their opportunities. Cork were more clinical. TJ Ryan out here towards James Moran. The match in injury time. Begley up towards Kieran Carey, who's finishing the game at full forward. Nipping in here is Mike Galligan. Can he fire it in? He's stopped by O'Sullivan. Fergal Ryan's there as well, and the goalkeeper comes out and makes a very effective clearance to midfield. Pat Ryan trying to break it down towards Fergal McCormack. Runs in there towards Kevin Murray. First part of a double bill live on this programme this afternoon, and Kevin Murray puts it over the bar. A very, very happy substitute from Clodouv. Is that to be the final score? 217 to 111. It is. Cork are still Munster hurling champions. They go on to the Guinness Munster final now. Tom Cashman and the backroom team. The exchange of jerseys. Joe Dean's goal in the middle of the second half. An absolute gem. And if you see a better goal in hurling in championship this summer, well, it'll be worth paying the admission fee just to witness. O'Halpine played it in, Dean fired it into the back of the net, and Cork are victorious here at Semple Stadium this afternoon. The full-time score, Cork 217, Limerick 111.
Yeah, Jimmy Barry Murphy, congratulations. Mission accomplished for today.
Yes, Jim. We didn't play particularly well at times, but in the end we won fairly comfortably. But Limerick were up to a certain stages of the game, and you know, I don't think we played particularly well, to be honest with you, but a good win certainly, and delighted to be in the Munster final again.
Jimmy, your forwards have always had a big fan club, but what about your backs today? Wayne Sherlock in particular, magnificent.
Absolutely brilliant, yeah. He's developed into a fantastic player, and he certainly gave an outstanding performance today, as good as I've ever seen by a Cork half-back, I think, in Thurles.
Yes, and your number 3 and number 6 had to be good today, and they were.
All our backs were excellent, I think, in fairness, and our goalkeeper, and we've worked very hard all over the field, and in fairness, even the players who weren't playing well were trying very hard, so we've no complaints about that, but we've a lot of hard work ahead of us, but, you know, we certainly can improve on that display, I think.
Congratulations, Jimmy, and thank you for staying with us.
Thanks, Jimmy. Well done.
So it's Cork who march on, Waterford and Limerick now on Heartbreak Hill. After the break, it's Leicester Football Championship action. Meath against Offaly.
Leicester reacted well. Leicester reacted well.
An explosive start in every way, Dermot. How well can you remember it?
Well, you know, a start of the game was always going to be tough. It was hard in around the middle of the field. It was hard in the half-back line. It was hard inside in the square. We knew it was going to happen. We expected it and we took it on.
Definitely we knew coming up here that Limerick going to be tough. They gave us tough. I think it'll be definitely, if we go on a bit, it'll be definitely one of the toughest games we come up all year. And I think it's all credit to Limerick. They had us sussed out. They know what they had to do. They hooked and blocked hardest, and they were unlucky in the end, this was.
I was delighted with the backs. They played extremely well in the first half and played very well in the second half. But when the ball went up to the forwards, the ball was coming down just as quickly as it went up, and that puts terrible strain on it. And we got a great goal in the second half. We came to within 2 points. The ball was cleared. TJ made a great clearance from our defence, and before he was ready, the ball was back in and clear, and Joe Dean sneaked in a goal. And that was the difference between winning and losing. We were unable to break through the Cork backs then from that on, and the kind of team kind of deflated a little bit.
Well, a brave and committed effort from Eamon Cregan's team, but at the end of the day, 70 minutes of championship hurling has produced nothing for them. Cork now guaranteed a lot more hurling this summer. Sarah Farrell is watching that match this afternoon. Sarah, just looking at some of our phone call comments and elsewhere, nothing really major out of it. A lot of people, oddly enough, talked about that incident in the first few minutes between Brian Begley and Diarmuid O'Sullivan, about Begley being hit over the head. Paul McMahon from Kildare wanted to make that point and wanted to make further comment on it. So did John Walsh from Clare. One thing that nobody in the phone calls disputed, though, was that Cork well deserved their win.
Yeah, you were going to get that in the Munster final. Even the throw-in, it took about 30 seconds to get away from there, and it was explosive between Begley and Diarmuid O'Sullivan, but there was nothing really malicious in it as such. And Cork will be very happy tonight. Jim Barry Murphy, they've won their first game. They're now hurling for the summer. And really the difference was that the forwards were scoring. That was the big difference. Like, the Limerick played well. They have a lot to go home and be happy about. They still have a young team. Of course, Cork are young as well. But like the Cork forwards were the difference. At the end of the day, they were the score. Whereas the Cork backs, to me, like as a unit, they were magnificent.
Yeah. The 2 goals you felt were for Cork were the goals that kept the gap between the two sides, really.
Yeah, Limerick were getting a point here and there, and so were Cork, but the goals make the difference. And here again, you're going to see a goal coming up now. Cork, like he did all day, long ball here, kind of half miss-hit it. Now, Mickey O'Connell runs onto this and just goes down the middle. In it, he tried to hand flick it across. It doesn't come perfect, but Neil Ronan picks it up, and he actually sends a little dummy. He goes the right, turns and lobs it in. Now, Sean McGrath gets goal side of Stephen Lucy, which is dangerous. One-handed flick. Not many people can do that. One-handed flick back into the back of the net. That gives Cork 4 points. Like Limerick, they were chasing the game after that.
The next goal, the next Cork goal, when it came, this was unfortunate for TJ Ryan because he had done everything pretty much right in this one. But Joe Dean just that little bit classier.
He had a great game full back and he played very solid. But when he looks back on this, he's going to realise full back, you have to concentrate on him. Here's Wayne Sherlock. He had a fantastic game. Long ball coming out of the fence. Now TJ Ryan plays majestic here, goes up and beats Joe Dean fair and square. He bursts out 3 or 4 yards and he clips a great ball away. Whereas Eamon Cregan was saying the forwards didn't win this ball. Sean O'Halpin did. He catches it and bombs it back down. Direct play, straight down the field. Now TJ, if you watch close, he's only getting back in and Joe Dean is on the end of it. An overhead flick. Joe still has to do it back of the net. And that puts Cork 6 points up. Effectively, the game is over.
Yeah. You know, the thing about it is, from a Limerick point of view, I mean, they played well today. They played with a lot of heart and fire. They were lost in the championship by 1 point last year. It has to be frustrating for Eamon Cregan these last couple of years.
I think he'll feel happier tonight than last year. You had Mike O'Brien, you had young Butler, you had Geary coming on. They all played well. You know, okay, there was cornerback Lucy got a roast, but he's on Sean McGrath. You know, and you have to have turbo pace to be good. But he has more to work with this year than last year, I believe, because he has the transition made. Most of the older guys are gone. And like, you know, Kieran Carey back again, maybe off the pace a little bit today. He needs him hurling the whole time. But he'll be happier tonight than last year. Whereas Cork, like, you know, they are going to improve. And like I put it this, whoever beats them will win All Ireland, but maybe there's no one there to beat them.
Okay, man of the match from this one?
Oh, without a doubt. Like, the Cork backs were fantastic, and even though the forwards were. But to me, Wayne Sherlock played as good as any wing back has played for Cork for the last 10 years. Like, you know, he did everything. He's a good reader of the game, great support play, and a beautiful hurler left and right. You're going to see him here now coming up in a second. Runs onto a hand pass from Brian Coughlin, and just one strike. He's 80 or 90 yards out there over the bar. But he's like, he's wristy, he's both sides, and he's a very intelligent player. You could put a 10-year-old on him. He doesn't touch the man at all. He just keeps hurling. Little hand pass back here. Again, he's involved all day. It was kind of a dream game for him.
Yeah.
You know, to me, he had as good a game as any wing back had for Cork over the last 10 years, and they had some great ones.
Well, well done to Wayne Sherlock, and we will see Wayne and his colleagues at least twice again anyway through the summer. Well, now we have to take a short break, but coming up in a few moments we turn our attention to the Bank of Ireland Football Championship.
Left half forward.